advocating, home rule for Brittany. And was elected the General Secretary of the Consultative Council for Brittany.
Of the Consultative
Consultative Council for Brittany.
Consultative, C-O-N-S-U-L-T-A-T-I-V-E.
That's right.
Council for Brittany, yeah.
Created by the Vichy government.
Sorry?
Created by the Vichy government.
I can't,
Well, the council was put up by the Vichy government.
It was
Created, put up by the Vichy government.
created by
The Vichy government.
the Vichy government.
Yes. Right?
Vichy government, yeah.
Arrested in 1944.
You were arrested in
44.
yes.
Spent a year in jail.
Sorry?
Spent a year in jail. 1 year in jail.
Sure.
Yes, spent 1 year in jail.
I can't hear.
Was arrested in 1944, you got that?
Yeah.
Spent a year in jail. Spent 1 year in jail.
And was 1 year.
In jail.
Yes, in jail, yes.
Yes. Was tried in absentia in February 1946.
Yes, in here.
In February 1946.
Yeah.
And sentenced
And sentenced
to penal servitude for life.
to penal servitude for life. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
He found his way to Wales.
How did you do that?
Well, with
Make sure all mobile phones are switched off.
You got a false passport.
he got the passport and found his...
You got a passport under a false name.
Yes.
A false name of Lucia. L-U-C-E-R.
Yeah, that's, well, the set was on later on. It was not quite the same, but still.
Yes, under a false name anyway.
Yes. In summer 1946.
In the summer of 1946. Yes.
And secured and I secured an assistant lectureship in Wales.
A secured what?
Photography and recording are prohibited in the auditorium.
Yes, the lectureship in French in Strasbourg University College.
In French.
Yes,
The French language.
French language.
Yes. You secured a lectureship in the French language.
At Strasbourg University College. Yes.
Please take note of your nearest fire exits. Make sure all mobile phones are switched off. Photography and recording are prohibited in the auditorium.
Calm down, dogs. Stop barking, yelping, running around me, jumping on one another. Stop the hungry sound of your mouths, whining, growling. I hear you. Your excitement is anger. You want to bite. I feel it. For days, I've walked with you, slept in the forest in the heat of your bodies. Stop, dogs! Again and again, the same sentence rising from your breath. Your father is not in his grave. Do you know what you're saying? My father long dead. My father long buried. My father hero of a fighting people. I close my eyes and all I see now, because of you, are the stained remains of his body, dug up and dragged through the mud. Why? And by whom? Will you not stop? Will you not answer me? You keep growling and weaving your bodies around me. Go, the pack! I'm following you still. Go! To the end! Because even the dead have begun to bleed. The road is glistening. It rained in the afternoon. It's that hour when shadows grow long and hungry. I stay in the forest. The dogs are behind me. They have led me here. The road is glistening. It rained in the afternoon. It's that hour when shadows grow long and hungry. I stay in the forest. The dogs are behind me. They have led me here. There's a kind of muffled music coming from inside the building. I can hear laughter sometimes. Screams also. Probably one of them drunker than the rest, looking for attention and the others not listening. And complaining. Shut your mouth. Sit back down. You've told us all before. I stay hidden in the middle of the trees for a long time. On the other side of the small road where there are no cars passing. I stay listening to the music a long time. catching only the bass notes. And then, the yelp of a dog. There, one of the pack, like a signal that it's time to go in. So, I move forward. I cross the road, and I push open the door. It begins there. I can't say what I saw inside, because I lived the entire scene from outside. I saw this woman go in, but I stayed outside of myself. I knew she would be back soon enough, and I was right. It took only a couple of minutes for the door to open again. And the guy who is forcing me out throws me so violently that I fall on the ground, my face in the muck. "You have questions, do you?" he asks. He's speaking fast. His face is red with drink. "Looking for something, are you?" And then he comes closer, his arms stretched out and pointing down at me, as if he was giving orders to a dog. "You shut your mouth. Stick your nose in the grass or the road or wherever you want, and you shut your mouth." I'm not afraid. I've come from too far to be afraid. And he keeps talking because he doesn't know how to stop. You've made the whole forest roar and you think I don't hear it? All those dogs barking. Is that your doing? What do you want? And he goes on asking more questions. Because as long as he keeps talking, he thinks he's the boss. What makes you think you can come in here, into this pub, into my pub, and sit down and have a drink? What makes you think you have the right to address my father? To come in here with that little gob of yours, to ask him questions, when it's been years since he stopped speaking? Catatonic, the doctors say, or something like that, meaning words will never come out of his mouth again, and there's no point expecting any. In the name of what, do you think? In the name of what? So then I finally say something, because that's what I came for. I say one word, which is all I need to say. I say, the maze. First there's a silence. For a moment I think he's going to fall and collapse onto the damp grass, but that's not what he does. That word, the word I spoke, enters his body and shakes up everything he believed was unshakable. His face gets redder, and he opens his mouth as if he was going to bite. And now you're saying words you shouldn't, looking for a few more slaps. And just at that moment, the old man, his father, comes out. He doesn't look at us. Maybe he doesn't see us. He goes for a piss against the wall. The sound of his piss on the leaves like the sound of contempt. So I say it again. The maze. So that he hears it too, in the comfort of his catatonia, and he hears it. He stops. He turns around slowly. He fixes his eyes on mine. And he spits on the ground. Then it's my turn to speak. I look at his son, and I see him flinch. Listen to the dogs. They are mine. Do you hear them? Listen. There are more and more of them. You're shaking? You shouldn't.
They can feel it. I can feel it. If I ask them, they will run at you. The old man, wise, doesn't move a muscle, like an old dead tree. The young man is shaking. You're shaking. You're wondering whether this is going to stop. It doesn't stop.
The dogs are coming. Yes, they're close now. And it's my turn to fasten on to you, to calmly tear off your face, to come close to your smell of cold sweat and cigarette. The maze! I'll say it again, because it's my word too. Long Kesh, the maze. The cold tiles of the corridors, the filthy cells covered in shit, the inmates without clothes, naked, refusing to wear the prison uniform. Our fathers. Yes, I said our fathers, in their own excrement. Crapping on the walls, spreading their shit because that's all they had. And us, yes, I said us, watching them on television, not knowing whether they were monsters or heroes. Long Kesh, the maze. I know who you are. Your father a screw, and you a screw, even without a prison, because you passed that down through your family. The echoing sound of those corridors, the little pleasures of he who has the key over he who has not. Long Kesh, the maze. I'll say it as often as I like, but I'm not saying it for you. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm saying it for that old man there. And I'll say my name too. I am the daughter of Morob. Do you believe me? You don't know. But that old man there, he believes me. I can feel it. I know what they did, your father and his mates. The pack of dogs told me. One night, when they'd been drinking, they decided that their enemies should never know peace, even dead. So with 2 shovels and a few bottles of whiskey, they went over to the cemetery of Gorast and they dug a hole to dig up my father. I know it. You see? He's looking up at me, the catatonic. And you're shaking because you didn't know your father was capable of that. I'm not asking for anything. I don't need an answer from him. I don't care if he is catatonic or senile. To me, he looks as dead as a city bereft of everything but a few plastic bags floating in the wind. I'm saying it so that he hears me. The son says nothing, knows nothing, hesitates, lips trembling. He's lost, and finally he looks at his father. Then the old man starts to speak. I knew who you were the minute I saw you, he says. The same smell of shit as your father, because it will stick to your skin for centuries. Catatonic no more, old beery-eyed liar. He's almost smiling, provoking me, despite the dogs. He denies nothing. He says, yes, they dug a hole, him and his mates, because they had decided Morob should never know peace. He says that they dug a hole, knocking back shots of whiskey for courage. It was St. John's Eve, bonfires, the big solstice fire, when old hatreds are ignited and flags are raised to fuel the hate. He says they went to the cemetery of Gorast to punish my father even in his death, to steal his skull or something like that. He says that they dug the hole laughing at everything they would do to him. But when they opened the coffin, they were silent, because Morob was not in his grave. That's what he says. And even the dogs around me are silent. And then He says these words with a twisted smile. We took the coffin and we burnt it. We didn't want to be digging for nothing. And we pissed into the hole, cursing his name, but the grave was empty. I waver. I want to say more, to hold on to some dignity, to not drown in the abyss, but I can't. Words have disappeared, all of them. I want to run, away from his smile, away from what he's just said. I go back to the forest, to the night, to my dogs. I want to cry or sink my teeth into the bark of the trees. I know what he said is true, and I leave ravaged by these questions. Where is Morob? Who stole the remains of my father? Dogs, bring me to Gorast. Run, don't stop. Stones rolling underfoot, ankles twisting. The trail tears at my skin. The night pulls me onwards. The air burns my lungs. About to fall so often, but your animal bodies, your dog bodies, like eels, lift and hold and carry me onwards. Bring me to Gorast. Nothing left, only that.
What do you want, career? You don't recognize me?
No.
Seamus! You're Morob's daughter, Truth.
Yes.
The dogs?
They're my escorts.
Not coming any closer. The smell, is it getting to you? That stinking smell of shit. Yeah, you can say it, don't ask. It's coming from me. Never left me. After all these years, stayed. In my clothes, in my hair, on my skin. The same as then. To carry around everywhere. The shit of Lonkesh. Like your father. Like the others.
Were you hitting the wall?
Truth.
Why were you doing that?
A punch for a punch. It's what I decided. For every beating I had. It's taken me a lifetime. Believe me, it wasn't walls I was hitting to begin with. One by one, I got them all. Now that's it. Seamus doesn't frighten anyone anymore. I've no strength left. But I'm not done yet. Wanted to come here. Yeah, an eye for an eye, a punch for a punch. I've 3 left to give. 3. They're the last ones. Mates buried. Brothers killed by bullets. Deserves that.
Did you know my father well?
As well as anyone could. 2 years side by side, 115 and 117. Hours spent listening to every ripple of life in the next cell. Hands against the wall even, so I could feel the vibrations when he was painting, in a manner of speaking. Our own shit that we couldn't leave the cells to slop out. Did you know that? The shit that was piling up, did you know? Day after day, stinking up your nose so you can hardly breathe, until it dries. But you still have to shit, and it keeps piling up. Then together, the decision to spread it on the wall. Our own excrement. Big painted spirals of shit. Layers of it up to the ceiling to say that we would never give in. And we were a lot further gone than they thought. They were afraid to come into the cells. We were naked and filthy, like druids falling into a sewer. And the smell, it never left.
Animals. I remember people saying that about you. Animals in their own shit.
Not animals. Guerrilla. Warriors, that's what we were. Shit was our weapon. Like our nudity. Like our beards. They couldn't get at that. Do you know what we used to call your father? The wall. Yeah? Some beatings in that place. Days the screws would pick on 2, maybe 3 of us just to let off steam. If we hadn't been picked, we could hear the beatings from ourselves. We knew when the screws came back, they'd be dragging a body behind them, along the tiles of the corridor. Carcass of meat. We knew then that one of us might be next, or not. And the waiting. Guria, the waiting. Truth, that's what had our guts twisted. But Morob, he sang. Yeah. All the old comrades would tell you that. First quietly, then he'd belt it out so it would always be him that they picked on. Swear. To shut him up. To punish him for that. For his courage. He knew. His voice singing our songs was asking to be punched, spat on, and left there in pieces. He knew. But it felt good. His voice didn't give a damn. Wipe them out. Could take on anything. Felt good. And it made every one of us feel good. Morob. We never thanked him. Never spoke. But it united us, Guria. The singing. Swear. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When the trumpets sound, gonna rise up out of the ground. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. He was strong, your father. Even when he was broken, dragged along the ground, a face so beaten up it would take him 5 days before he could speak again. He was strong. Because in his eyes you could see he regretted nothing. And he was still singing. Inside.
Is it you stole the body?
No way, Korea. How could you think that? None of us did. Swear. We were comrades. Even if towards the end, Truth, your father, he went too far.
In the struggle?
Us, we were fighting against the occupier. He was always that. Nothing else. It was enough. Liberate the country. But him, when he was inside, he began throwing everything to hell. Father, fatherland, folly, he'd say. And more, swear, who we were fighting for. The families, the people. Saying it all meant nothing, and that him, he was fighting for the rivers and the wind.
He said that?
Truth.
How did he die?
You should speak to your mother.
She's dead too.
Sure, that never stopped anyone.
You have one last punch left.
Yeah. But the last one, Guria, I'm saving it for the grave.
Go, dogs. Go on ahead of me. I'm pushing open the cemetery gate. Run. Fast. Find the grave and dig down deep. With your paws, your jaws, your impatience. Dig down, 10 at a time, 20. Scratch the earth. Throw it behind you for me to see if the grave is empty. I see the earth overturned. I see the hole. The dogs are gone, exhausted from digging so deep. I take another step.
I'll be doing my back and filling that hole again.
It was me who asked them.
Why the hell would you ask such a thing?
To see if the grave was empty.
And who wants to know?
It's me, Mother. Do you recognize me?
All the same, turning everything upside down like that.
Do you know where the body is?
Very damp this evening, isn't it? The night has a runny nose, your grandmother used to say.
Yes.
Quieter without the dogs.
You haven't changed that much.
He was good looking, wasn't he?
Yes. I recognize him immediately. My father. Young. A boxing champion smile on his face. That was before the struggle. Before prison and the punches in the stomach. Before the mouthfuls of blood and the spat out teeth. That was my father.
Even after prison, he was good looking.
Do you know where the body is, Mother?
You're old, my daughter. Is it normal to be that old?
It's because you've been dead a long time, Mammy.
All the same.
Her. She hasn't changed. She looks the same as she did the last time I saw her. With the little black dress she chose herself for the day of her funeral. To look proper, as she always said. Mother Morob, everyone called her. With her worker's hands and her busy face. Then I asked the question again. Do you know where the body is, Mother?
He didn't want to come back. Do you remember that? The slap in the face that day, I could have cried. Word came there would be freedom for the prisoners. Years of struggle for all the families, and that day, at last, all of us came. I got ties for your brothers, and you had a little dress with patent shoes, do you remember? We were waiting, all along the road in front of the prison, and they appeared. 6 of them. Heroes. Those who had survived. Shadows. I think all of us were shaking when we saw them. So thin. so hesitant standing there in front of us, not knowing which foot to step across the road with, but I was ready for that. I was ready for anything. A man who wouldn't speak, or a man who couldn't sleep, who would be fearful at night and shaking all day. I was ready for a drinker. I would have put up with anything because I was proud. They were heroes. They were being let out of prison and we had won. But I wasn't ready for the shame. We'd all dreamt of the happiness, the hugs and the kisses. But the shame? No. How could we have imagined the shame? Thankfully, the guys from the committee were there and the parish priest. That helped, because otherwise, words, I don't know. I made as if to cross the road and come closer to him. I told myself that I had to go across and that once the children were around him, it would be all right. I took all of you by the hand. The boys with their shaved heads and their Sunday ties. And you with the little dress you didn't know how to wear. We were all going to cross the road, but he raised his hand. Like that. Do you remember? Maybe not, you were just a kid. He raised his hand as if to say, stop. I froze. And he went the other way without a word. He turned away from us. And all the others were watching. All the others who ended up hugging their wives, not one of them thought to call out to him, to call him back. They let him go. And me, I was left there in the middle of the road with your brothers sniveling into their shirt sleeves.
I remember. Ever since that day, the outline of his shape in that afternoon of shame. I remember the strength of you pulling us by the arm to get us back home. I remember we left the other families at the prison entrance so that we could go home, run home. I remember my brother's ties, my patent shoes hurting my feet. Everything seemed to be mocking us. It was as if we had no more right to happiness, to victory, to anything. And then I remember how many days, months was it afterwards? I remember you saying, your father is dead. We'll bury him on Sunday.
And we put our good clothes back on again.
Do you remember the flags, Mammy?
Of course I remember. I went to see Seamus and I told him, put a bit of ceremony into it. I want my children to be full of pride on that day. I told him, do as you would do to make your women proud. At first he didn't want to. He even said it was ridiculous. I stood up to him, small and all as I was, and I told him to do it. By the Blessed Virgin, because they owe me at least that. All of them. For the hours spent crying into my pillow. For the hours spent sewing every night, ruining my eyes for a few extra bob. For the years of waiting and the 4 kids to raise alone. For the so-called comrades who more often than not forgot to call in. For every month more difficult to make ends meet. And because, even with all of that, I never turned my back on the struggle. So yes, they owe me that. Lowered his eyes, Seamus. And he said yes. he would agree to it. And I knew he would do it well because he said yes as if he was saying it to his sister or to his mother.
The flags, Mother. There were so many of them. So many colours from everywhere, every faction. Flags on either side of the coffin when they placed it in front of us. And then I remember all the flags moving up and down. So slowly it made me shiver. 3 times. Slowly. As if they were bowing their heads. And then there was a volley of shots. It was beautiful. It was slow and powerful.
They owed me at least that.
What happened to his body, Mother?
I found him. After he left Laurent, your father, I found him. I didn't try and make him come back, if that's what you're asking. I saw in his eyes that he was far away and that he would never be ours again. I didn't want to be humiliated again. Just told him that I was going to bury him and that I wanted his agreement. Because the Morob I married, the Morob at whose side I fought, the one I had waited for and had left me with 4 kids in rags, that one was dead. And it was only right that I bury him because I loved him, that man. And I'd have been a tramp to let him leave me without burying him. He said yes. He understood. It meant never come back. It meant go away. Wherever he wanted, as long as it was far away and alone. Never speaking to anyone of what he had been. It meant to live amongst the trees from now on. He said yes because that is what he had already begun to do. So, yes, for us, the flags, the silence of the funeral, the admiration in the eyes of others, you'd a right to that. The man we were burying was a hero. You'd a right. And no one could say otherwise. Oh no, I would let no one say otherwise. And even Seamus cried that day because he knew it was partly true. And they shot a volley into the sky as they do for the comrades who have died for the cause. I know to this day that it was no lie. Don't look at me like that. You look even older than you did earlier. I'm not lying. He died in the struggle, Morob. Somewhere. On one of those nights in the cell where he sang under the punches and blows. Everyone told me about it. He sang. And if only because of that they could at least bow down to the coffin and the flags with them in front of me and in front of all mothers like me who were left with nothing but children to feed.
Why, Mother?
They owed me at least that.
But I believed it. I believed our father was in the coffin.
Everyone believed it. Seamus was the only one who knew, and he promised he would say nothing. And by the way, he was there in the coffin. Believe me.
That means if the grave is empty, my father is alive.
You didn't hear, daughter. Dead, I said to us, since that day when he didn't cross the road and turn away from us.
Somewhere out there, alive maybe.
For the trees, alive for the beasts, the stones and the weeds. Yes. But not for us.
I look at my mother, holding the photo which she brings to her lips. Goodbye, Mother. The dogs are calling me. Do you hear them? That is why they came from the very beginning. Oh, come, my dogs. Open the path for me. My father has been given back. I am following you. I feel your agile bodies hurrying, weaving around me. Don't go too fast. Oh, my dogs, you are yelping. You are growling. You are whining with excitement or happiness, like a pleasure burning in your bodies. Excitement. Excitement. I am one of you. I hear you. Search. Search. Search for Morob in the night. Lead me to him who is not dead. Search for Morob, who let his wife bury him, who let his friends weep. Do you remember him? Oh, my dogs, run, wild with the grass beneath your paws. Run, run. I am running with you. So many words inside me, so many silences, more words again. Run, my dogs, run faster. Show me the way. Forests, plains, rivers, hills, bogs, fields run wild. The dogs never left my side. They picked up the scent. They dug. They tracked you. And I found you, Morob. My father. By night, by day, I don't know anymore. Everything racing, branches and stones. But I found you, Morob. My father. Alone amongst the trees. Shouting orders at the wind. Staring at the clouds like an old captain. Murmuring words to the trees while their leaves bend to hear you. Morob, my father, I am coming towards you. Can you see me? Who comes to one
Morob.
Name of none, far gone.
You're alive.
No need. Look no more.
You're here, Morob. Alive.
Words thrown away. Far. No more need.
I'm your daughter.
Far as you want. Daughter of what?
You are not in your grave, Morob. Do you remember?
Billions of worlds that not seen. No time to die.
Do you remember, Morob, the ones that you left?
Little piles of shit pebbles, walls of filth, left, mouthfuls of blood, left.
Why did you say you were dead?
For the who asked her, the family, the lace. Go away.
And the children?
Of what? Of whom? Child. Vermin.
What have you been doing since, Morob?
Billions of seeing. Stars, insects, water drops on leaves, and it wrinkles, falls, begins again, disappears. Stench of life. Billions of forms. The waters, like the earth, give birth to life. Ashes, I saw, never tired of. Smile of morning, carcass of night. Looked for a hole, but didn't find. The wind, it lasts. It doesn't want to cease. There, look again. Not finished. Far from men, life of earth. It splashes, it rustles. Thick bog, defecation of mud. Roll in it all to take away the smell. And then, morning light, pelting rain of life. Flowers, the waters that glide, not finished.
I could leave him there. I could curse him, hit him, make him pay. Did you think of our nights of poverty? Of our mother with her back broken? Did you think of us children, ashamed to have no father? I said nothing. That old man there, in front of me, with his unfinished words. Come, Father. Give me your hand. Let yourself go. Climb up on my shoulders. I'll carry you. Don't be afraid. I'm strong. I won't get tired. I've waited too long for this moment. You're hesitating? Come. Yes. Climb up on my shoulders. Can you feel? I am carrying you. Your weight of a man. Your breath on my neck. Father, can you feel? I am taking you away. The dogs are taking us. They've been bringing us together from the very beginning, haven't they?
Good dogs. The pack.
The world is vast. And for the first time, we are two of us. Isn't that so, Father?
Yes. That's so.
Are you afraid?
Run. More. Keep. Hurry. Go.
I do, without hesitation, carried by the pack. And I talk, so much to tell one another. The past, a life made of silence, on the run since I left my brother's house. I talk, and Morob listens. He has never heard so many words. It gives him a thrill. His head is spinning. Dance, Morob, because we are two of us.
Daughter.
Dance, Morob. The world is ours, and no one will disturb us. The time is ours. I will teach you the words I know, which you did not have the time to say.
The wind. Everything blurs.
Dance, Morob.
Run. Run of life. It spurts.
I run. Nothing will stop me. Life begins. Far from us the walls, the punches. I run. For 3 days and nights maybe, or even more. No one has ever done this before. My father on my back. I grow to know him without saying anything. Just like that. Two bodies as one, breathless. We cross the hills, climb over walls. My father, who can't get enough of being carried like a child. And I relish these days that are worth a lifetime. Dance, Morob. And then, it was not tiredness. No, it could not be that. It was not exhaustion. But on my shoulders I feel the weight heavier, crumbling. Are you there, Father?
Long time searched.
What?
Long time searched. end it all.
Hold on to me again. We can search the whole world.
No. Not bring Morob back to the grave.
That word, spoken into my back, suddenly. The word hits me. My blood is thumping through my veins like the drums of war. The word stops me. So I say, I swear to you, Morob, the grave that was dug will stay empty.
Fathers, daughters, promise.
Fathers, daughters, promise. He's smiling. No strength left to respond. But I hear his old branch of a body saying thank you. Then I turn to the pack. Come, dogs. We are going to the grave. The river Gailin is waiting for us. Come. Don't be afraid. That's where everything must end. Come. It's not much further now. Look, there she is, Gailin. Like she has always been, fed by the ice of rocks, untamed. I know what I must do. I take one step into the icy water, then another. My father still there, no longer responding. I go in deeper, feel the cold pebbles beneath, smooth from the centuries of water. My legs are growing numb from the water's bite. Oh, river, I breathe your name across the surface to wake you. Gailin, can you hear me? Slowly, I go in deeper, up to my waist, breathless, so cold, and the dogs are following me, all of them. They know what they must do. They dive into the water without fear, like an army following their king. The blood in my veins is like thunder. I am caught in your waves, Gailin, and now I am climbing the tide of your waters, caught in the slipstream, leaves sliding past, dragonflies skimming the water, stones rolling beneath my feet in the deep with the slowness of giants. I can feel them, the rays of light, the current whirling into knots, the water flowing, splashing, jumping on the stumps of the trees, and I let my father slide gently from my back. There is the cold that kills everything that falls into it, rodents, birds, and swallows everything. Gailin, I feel you, your power of river, your power preventing me from going forward. And I can barely feel my legs now numb with the cold. Fish, pebbles, grass, foam, your smell is of winter frost and brown autumn, clear as a waterfall, strong as a current of bright water. I give you my father. He won't struggle. He is better here than in the grave. But I want more time with him. So I am plunging downwards too, into the deep, eyes wide open to be with him again, and with the dogs for a few minutes. Time disappears. The sounds of the world are gone. I am beneath your waters, Gailin. The world is inside me. I've stopped moving. I see, as if I am split, the daughter entering the river, carrying her father. The daughter escorted by her dogs who go ever deeper. She is carrying him. I know all is well. All is as it should be. I say goodbye to you, Morob, but you don't look back. You're smiling, still on your daughter's shoulders. I let you go far into the distance until I can't see you anymore. Both of you lost in the current, in the silt of the deep. And I climb back onto the banks alone, as if cleansed of everything, in the silence of the sky that seems to be waiting for me. to make me warm again. Hair drenched, lips numb. I needed time to catch my breath. Stretched out on the shore, full of him still, of the race across the hills. I have come back, leaving behind me there in the waters of Gailin, Morob and his daughter, forever, carried by the pack. They will come out now and then. You will see them running. Days when the rain washes the riverbanks and the sun pierces through to a glistening world. Dance, Morob. I'll murmur it softly for you again. The people won't be afraid. They will lean into the waters of the river and whisper to it what they know of life. Dance, Morob. You will gather them, all those given words. And after centuries and centuries, you will finally know what it is to live. And only then will everything end if you decide. Dance, Morob. Until the day when you will smile from the depths of the river like a king, exhausted but undefeated.